So, hey guys, back from another video. Today we will be doing Deku's Perfect Work. I haven't done this what if in a long time. Probably about 2 to 3 weeks, but so yeah, it's still long either ways. In my terms, that's a long time because I'm more rather to posting like every other day or each day. I'm more rather to do that than like straight up do stuff. Anyways, so I remember where I left off. So I'll just hop in from there. So I left off at Deku and the rest having a party. After the party was finished, we see Katsuki's, which is female Bakugo, Mei's, and Uraraka's mothers, because remembers all three of those of the women fathers, they kind of left them. So yeah, and Deku was just there. Now Deku had, if you watched the last part, you would know that Deku has changed. His body, his appearance, his attitude towards stuff has changed because he finally get that weight off of his chest that he was holding for such a long time. But we're gonna get in more of the like depressing side of this and like try to resolve everything one time instead of like having to like wait a lot. So yeah, and he's gonna get a new suit called Hero Suit Omega, so that's good. Anyways, so Deku would get so they would come in. Everybody would have left already because again they had a party. Everyone would have left, and Katsuki's mom, Katsuki's, Uraraka's, and Mei Hachime. I'm gonna call her Hachime sometimes. Hachime's mom would come and sit both Deku, Uraraka, and hold up a bit. Sorry. So Deku, so they would sit them down on the couch or something, and tell the Deku would tell the Inko would tell Deku that she's kicking him out. Deku would be surprised. He would answer what he did and all of that. She didn't realize how it might have sounded to him, and just recalled and waved her hands in the air and said, "Not like that, not like that, not like that." I meant as in you're getting a new home. You're teenagers. You're mature for your age and you're responsible. I trust that you'll be okay on your own. I need to learn how do I say this? Spread my wings a little bit. Go out my comfort zone. I've always been protective of you. Now I need to hold back on that for a bit. They wouldn't understand where his mother is coming from, but he would still be sad that he has to move out, and he would ask them where he's gonna go. She would tell him that she bought a mansion for him about like 3 to 4 miles from UA. 3 to 4 miles from UA. So Deku would be alright with it, and then Uraraka and Mei's mom would Uraraka would ask her mom, and they would say, "You're going with Deku, as in we're kicking you out too." Katsuki would be kind of mad, like low key. She still has Bakugo's personality, so but she's more open and a little bit more kind. And she and her mother got into like a playful argument. So it's not like an argument. There's a playful argument. So yeah, if you hear something in the background, please ignore. So Deku would start packing stuff. So Uraraka, because they still have some stuff here. So and then they have to go back home to like collect some stuff. So Deku would start packing and getting stuff ready. He looked in the mirror, but when he looked in the mirror, he saw something strange. He saw his hair black and red. much like Todoroki's. His hair black and red. They could be freaking out, but when he looked back, when he rinses his self with water, his hair was back to its black color with green tips at the end of it. But this time his blue eye was showing more. Because if you remember, his eye became, I think I made it yellow. But his blue eye is back because I decided on something, so I'm gonna need his blue eye to be back. So he just has this one blue eye and this one green eye. Then you could see a liquid that is Deku's complexion drip from his face. But that's not necessary to the story right now. So it's not necessary to the story right now. So Deku would start moving and would start trying to move anyways. And he would get his stuff, get his phone, his computers, his desktop, everything, and pack it into a bag and containers. The butlers and the maids would help Deku and carry him to and help him go to his house. He would say his farewells to his mother and tell her to be okay, and I hope she doesn't get lonely without him here. And she says she won't, and then he's gonna call her every day and drop by most of the time whenever he's going back to school after half off time from school. Deku kind of saw this coming and just took it as what it was. It's his mom. She's obviously gonna be concerned, so he prepared himself for that one. He then left. Deku would reach the mansion and he would go inside and turn on the lights. This mansion was beautiful. Now, remember Iron Man's mansion? Remember that was by the cliff of the beach thing? Yeah, it's Deku. That's Deku's mansion, basically. Everything that was in there is in there, except the Iron Man suits, because again, he's not Iron Man. He just have the mansion that's close to this, and he's smart. Maybe even smarter than Iron Man. Maybe. So Deku decides to go back and goes into the house, unpacks and stuff, and then realizes that there's only 2 bedrooms. 2. One is the guest bedroom, and the other is most likely his, Uraraka's, Mei's, and all there's bedrooms. But Deku didn't pay any much attention to this, mainly because he's already slept with them. Not that way, but he already sleep with them in a bed with him time and time again. So it's not gonna really change anything. A few minutes later, they show up at the house and they just go wandering and they find Deku in a bed. They find him sleeping, so they go exploring some more and then get tired and then go into the bed. Now they have a week off from UA from this. They have a week off, so after this Witch Festival, I think it was a week off of the whole thing. So there you go. Deku would be sleeping, twisting and turning, but mostly sweating. After a while, the girl would feel this constant movement and wake up. But they would see Deku. When they tried to wake him up, it didn't work. Even when Katsuki yelled in Deku's ears, he didn't wake up, but he was still moving, meant that he was still alive. They were wondering what the heck was going on. But then a liquid from Deku's cheek drops on Uraraka's hand, because her hand was just underneath Deku's head. And then she looked at it. It was the color of the liquid was the same complexion as Deku's skin. And it was dripping off. Urarakas went and get some water and a paper towel and started to rub under Deku's eye and above his eye. It's what looked like makeup started to come off of Deku's eye until they saw a scar right beneath a scar right on his eye. Imagine Kakashi's scar that he had when they sliced his eye. Yeah, basically that. But it was a little bit more. It was a little bit purple, and red at the same. Purple and red at the same time. This is obvious because it was a burn. Deku would still be sleeping. They were worried. Why did Deku not tell them about this? It looked like he was trying to hide it. But then they saw something. Fire started to leak out of the scar on Deku's eyes. Now let's go to Deku's perspective in his dream. Deku's in front of, 3 people. One had white hair with brown eyes. The other had white hair with blue eyes. The other had a green hair with green eyes. Deku looked at them, and they all looked like him, but with different colored hair. Deku asked them who were they, and they told him that they're him. They're the embodiments of his quirks. Deku, but then where's one for all? Well, we can't access that. There's no embodiment of you there. So, yeah. Deku started to question them and ask them what they want from him. They told him, technically, we want to control your body. Because Deku's a very blunt person, his other personalities would be blunt along with him. So they would just straight out say they want to take over his body. He would ask them why, being a very calm and trying to understand why. They would then explain, you pushed this away multiple times. You pushed this away, you locked us up, you chained us up. The only one you didn't do that to was most likely the Midoriya you. But he still got pushed away sometimes. You use your power without any repercussions, knowing that you won't get hurt, but you tarnish the fact that you have your blood. That's what made us, the embodiment of your quirk. Deku would look at them and say that is not their choice to say whatever he does. It's not your choice to take over my body. It's not even your choice to understand me. The only person that can understand me is me. And Deku didn't finish that last part. It's they that finished it for him. Yeah, we know how you think. We are you and you are me. That's plain and simple. Nothing will really change. Deku would say yes. You will accept them. You will accept that Endeavor is your son. What about me? This is the one with the white hair that spoke to Deku. Do you hate mom? Do you? Deku would tell him, no, I don't. But that does not mean that I push you away. Because you're still Endeavor blood tied. I guess so. I need to shut up. Because this one is really silent and non-caring. The cold side of him. So Deku is arguing with his Endeavor blood basically. And Deku gets enough and says, and then he feels a slight touch on his back. He turns around and sees his mom. Not Rei, his Inko. Then he sees Katsuki. He sees Uraraka, Mei, Kirishima. He also sees Aizawa, All Might, Todoroki. His whole entire family. Well, he doesn't know why Todoroki's there. And he doesn't really like that Todoroki's there. But anyways, Deku pushed on and said, I'm the only person that controls my life. I'm the only person. Leave me alone. And Deku would then burst. One half of his body would burst into flames and burn the surrounding area into flames. The other side of his body would freeze the other side. Freeze it would no, sorry. Fire would explode from Deku, stunning his copies or figments of his reality, of his psyche. Then he would freeze them. Deku would look at them. I see that his hair was turning again. It stayed the same color, but it became more flat on his head, not so curly and spiky. And there was some piece of his hair was spiky, but he realized that his hair was way too long. But anyways, he said severed ice, and like the ice broke into 3 parts and then just busted and turned into crystals. Then the quirks then auras came from the dead bodies of his psyche and fused into one and then went into Deku. This is when Deku woke up. He saw that he was sweating, but when he looked up, he saw Mei, Uraraka, and Katsuki looking at him with a very mad face. Uraraka and Mei would see that Uraraka, Mei, and Katsuki would see that Deku's his hair growed longer, but just straightened out, to be honest, and his eyes are the same, but they are having more glow to it, and he looks better in general. Deku asks them what was the problem, and what was the problem, and because they were looking at him very mean. He then asked them, why didn't you tell us about the scar? Deku would ask, what scar? Then he would touch his face and realize the bandages that he put there, the patches that he put there to hide the scar, is gone. He then looks on the bed and saw that the bandages were right there. They would tell him to explain, and Deku would start explaining. We flash back to when Deku was, let's say, 3 or 4 years old, right? Deku would be looking at his mother, and his mother would be taking care of Deku. Deku didn't find out that he had no quirk yet, so his family was as normal as the Todoroki family could get. So but at this time, his name is still Itachi. He would run down the stairs and go to his brother Toya, but Toya did not like Deku one bit. His mother hated him. Well, not hated him, but avoided him at every cost. She always saw endeavor when she looked at Toya, and she just couldn't take it and just avoided him at any cost. But when Toya saw Deku running, he just snapped. He picked out a sharp object and slashed it across Deku's face, internally hitting his eye. But his quirk for the first time activated, but it wasn't nothing noticeable. Steam started to come from Deku's eye, but it was coming from his eye itself, not the scar that was on his eye. His eye healed, and he was just screaming because his face still got a slash on it. Ray and Endeavor would come running down and see the sight and see Toya with a sharp object. Endeavor would kind of like beat Toya and like kind of like Endeavor kind of didn't really care, but like at this point he still thinks Deku's special because he's the only fire member that has black hair. So yeah, and he was right that Deku was special, but hey. Deku then Ray started started trying to comfort and froze Deku's like cut, and they rushed him to like the hospital. And that's the end of the flashback. And he told him that he didn't even tell his mom. So yeah, that'd be it though. But like, yeah, that's it. That's it, right? Yeah, that's it. That's it. Damn it. When I talk like you, sorry, lost focus. So Deku would go, and he would explain to them, and they would understand. They told him to tell his mother right now, because it was pretty petty of him to not say anything about it. Now, if you're wondering why they're making such a big deal over a slash on Deku's eye, was merely because he tried to hide it, and that it looks like it was hurting him. It looked like that, and he probably didn't want to go to the doctor because then she would find out about the cut. So that meant that Deku was always had the cut and it was always hurting him, but he just kept down the pain. So yeah, Deku's been hiding his like scar, but his scar had like kind of been infected. So there's an infirmary in the mansion, and they go to it, and there's someone there, and they kind of like look at Deku's cut, does some stuff, give him some medicine, and tell them to keep it easy because he also has a slight fever. Deku understands and just goes down and kind of starts chilling, right? He then asks Katsuki to cut his hair. She said, "Okay, nerd," and then she sat behind him. She kind of like clipped off some of his hair and got a buzzers, whatever you want to call. I call them buzzers, and or I don't know what else to call them. Anyways, he gets one of those, and she cuts the sides of his hair. So she gives him a fade, but his hair is like, it's still long. It's not short. So his hair is kind of like not overlapping the fade, but is like falling down on his head. But there's still some. I don't know how to like express that. He has a fade, but like the hair is kind of covering his hairline or something. I don't know how to express that, but he just looks legit, right? She finishes, and Deku's eye, his eye basically starts to release steam, and because it was given the proper medical attention, he could have healed it himself if he like tried, but if he was given the right medical attention in the first place, his eye started to heal up and became like Kakashi's scar, his eye scar. So like it's healed, but you could still tell that there was a scar there because like a different shade of skin was there now, a darker shade of skin was there now. So Deku would look up and just go to bed. He would then fill out some forms for a new hero outfit, which he's gonna call the hero outfit Omega. Hero outfit Omega. Him and May has been working on this outfit for a long time, and especially the gauntlets that he's gonna wear on his arm. He kind of got the idea from Katsuki, but he kind of did it at the same time. Deku sent that paper in, and a week passed where they have to go back to UA. Now, when going back to UA, everyone talks to each other. They go gang. They do the little thing. They trip around. Aizawa comes into the classroom and announces like what is called now, how much like people wanted them for the sports festival. Now Todoroki is kind of looking at Deku and kind of not like side-eyeing Deku, because he now figured out that his twin brother, well, not twin brother, because should I make Deku and Todoroki twin brothers? But they're not identical though. Nah, they'll be twin brothers because they're the same age. Yeah, they're twin brothers. But Deku's a little bit older. A little bit. His older brother, his older twin brother, and people start asking him and Deku questions about how old are they? Are they? Which one is older? And Todoroki answers this time and says that Deku's older and says that we're twins. And they are surprised because Todoroki and Deku don't look the same. But then they realized, they looked at Deku properly this time. They saw his hair, which has changed, and his eyes has a more color to it than it did before, and his scar on his eye. When Todoroki saw this scar, he remembered something. He remembered the day when Deku got it. He almost forgot about it. When he saw that scar, he remembered why Deku hates his family. It's not just for the mere fact that they abandoned him. Well, most of them abandoned him because they inflicted pain onto him. And he always remembered why. And he could never remember why they were always angry at Deku for something. But he knew it had something to do with his mother. With their mother, though. So Deku would get the most people that wanted him, but he would still go to train with who his name is. He would still go to train with who his name is. Who is his name? Who is his name? Who is his name? Gran Torino, yeah, damn it. Gran Torino. He would still go to train with Gran Torino, and he would start, and All Might would tell him about Gran Torino, and he would see that All Might was kind of scared. It would kind of send a shiver through Deku's spine, but he would get over it. Now, time skip to where they're all at the train stations, and they kind of talking, and Deku tells him that he won't be with them for a while, and that he'll be going, and then Deku kind of leaves. Now we time skip to where Deku gets to Tantarina's house. He still sees Gran Torino on the floor, and all of that still ends up happening. Now when Gran Torino tells him that you need to think more than just with your fist, Deku would actually ponder this. He would then remember something. Oh, I have legs, and just start using them with one for all, right? He could already use 15, no. You could use 20% at this point. 20%. Let's say 20%, okay? You could use 20%, which is actually pretty good, to be honest. His feet, 20% Anyways, he could use 20% full cowling, and he would touch Gran Torino. Gran Torino said that, that was your training. Deku would tell him that he wants to improve on his other quirk, his ice and fire quirk. The Gran Torino remembers something that he saw before. She would then tell Deku there's this really old abandoned library that had some really old books about stuff. So you could probably go and check there and see if anyone in the past had some inkling of a quirk or moves that you could use with fire. Deku would understand and go to him. Now, Deku in this one would go with his hero costume because he didn't put on his hero costume inside the house, but he decides to put it on now because he's going out on a mission. Now, there will be some ample changes. Instead of the Uchiha shirts, the Uchiha shirt with the Uchiha thing, Deku would have a sleeveless hoodie. So there was only the hoodie and then the hoodie and then the shirt. So basically, yeah, a sleeveless hoodie with skin. Okay, let me explain it from the beginning. Let me explain it from the bottom up, right? Deku would have still have the metal sole shoes for him for better kicking power and stuff like that. But it would be a little bit more thinner and sleek and slender, so it wouldn't be bulky as it wasn't. It wouldn't be as bulky as it was in canon. Not saying it was bulky, but it wasn't as bulky. He wear his skin tight long pants that and the skin tight long pants that also connected to his shoes, and that could connect to his shoes then. And he had on a red utility belt, so with bunch of canisters, basically canisters that where he could put his ice in the canister and throw it, and it would explode and it would release black ice. And same thing goes for fire, it would just like release black fire. But Deku's fire and ice has changed. Deku has not realized it yet because he hasn't been using his quirk for a little bit. But when he did try to like store up on them when he was putting his clothes on, he saw that his fire had and the ends of the fire and inside of the fire had an orange flame had an orange flame that looked like Endeavor's. He then remembers the dream that he had. He then tries his ice, and like always, there was some blue in his ice. Deku was like, he knows his quirk isn't getting weaker, but is getting stronger. Adding his parents' power with his quirk makes him stronger. It looks like he just needed to accept that they were his parents, but not forgive them. Deku hasn't forgive what's called Endeavor. I don't think he ever will truly forgive Endeavor, like honestly, truly, or even his family. I don't think he would fully ever do that. It would merely take his old man life to like actually finally get over it. But then they'll be dead. Some of them will be dead like that. So like yeah. Wow. Anyways, Deku would go and so he would wear a skin tight shirt, and then he would wear the sleeveless hoodie, but this hoodie had small pointy ears on them. He would wear a mask, and with a mask that actually covered his chin, covered under his chin, and it was also connected with his skin tight long sleeve shirt. And then he would have two metal gauntlets on his hands with small holes in it, so it was kind of like close to his skin. Well, not like close, it was kind of close to his skin, but it was a little bit bulky, so it wasn't something like bulky that you could just see. It kind of looked like a part of his clothes, but is an attachment to his clothes though. I don't know if you can understand that. So Deku puts that on and goes to the library. He goes through until he finds a story called Mortal Kombat. If you know where I'm going with this, you know where I'm going with this. He would then read a story on Sub-Zero and who his name is again? Sub-Zero and Scorpion. We'll start reading and look for all the books where they had Scorpion and Sub-Zero in them. He would then go back to the house and just start reading. He would learn the ability to ice slide, whatever. So you remember when Sub-Zero just like slides on the ice and like punches people? Basically, he learns that. He learns to make ice clones of himself, and he learns how to like freeze people in place and then kick them, which gives him a free shot on them, which immobilizes them, giving him the chance to hit him. He learned from Scorpion, "Get over here," which is just the chain which he made out of ice instead. He made up the chain with ice, and at the tip of the chain was had a blue ice instead, like the chain itself being completely black. But anyways, Deku would then learn how to like fire movement or fire teleport. Remember that thing where Sub-Zero does when he jumps and he goes into the underworld and comes back out in a different place? Basically that, but he's not going to underworld. He's actually just straight up teleporting. But he cannot teleport very long distances. So yeah. he decides to take up some martial arts and learn what martial arts Sub-Zero and they used. So Deku started to create weapons with his ice, using his ice to make daggers, swords, hammers, and axes, stuff like that. And he started to get skilled with those weapons, and just like he basically started to like learn about Sub-Zero and just like straight up fuck with him, right? He started to learn about Scorpion, and I kind of don't know about Scorpion though, like low key. Scorpion doesn't have any like real stuff that I would give Deku like that, which he just couldn't do already. I don't know what to give him from Scorpion's side, but hey, Deku would learn about this and just start learning some martial arts, and he would create a new technique called Ice Dragon Fist. It's a combination of One for All and his Ice Quirk, and he went to a lake and he tried it. He jumped into the air and said Ice Dragon Fist and punched his fist out. Ice Dragon left his fist and went into the water, completely freezing the water into a blue ice, not black, but he could see the black dragon still going down into the earth, into the water. So the ice dragon was still moving, the black ice dragon was still moving, but it had completely frozen the ocean. So it was breaking the ice going down. Well, it was making the ice going down. So basically, yeah. So yeah. Deku then shot one into the air, and then it just completely started to snow. So Deku can technically change the weather. Technically. Anyways. He realized that his ice powers are more versatile in the snow, or like where places are very cold. So this is a good area of effect for him. So like he can just get stronger by being someplace. So yeah. Gran Torino would still take him out to Hosu City, and yeah, the Nomu would still attack, but this time Deku would use Shattered Ice and defeat most of the Nomus, using full counter to get to where Ida was, because he knew Ida was doing something stupid. Would go and get Ida, and this is where he would start fighting the Nomus and start fighting Stain. Sorry, Todoroki would still come on his own accord, because Deku wouldn't really call Todoroki. No, let's say Todoroki was there before, so Deku can make a cool entrance. Todoroki and Ida was fighting Stain, right? And they lost because Stain got their blood and they can't move. Deku started to Deku started to move, and not Deku, sorry. Todoroki started trying to move until he felt the place became absolutely zero. Its temperature became zero. The walls in the alley started to freeze up into a black ice, but you could still see some blue in it. You could see on Stain's feet, his feet started to get encased with ice. And let's say a helicopter is right above them, but they couldn't hear it at the time because of the adrenaline. And it would completely engulf Stain, and Deku would say severed ice, killing Stain. Now Stain actually is gonna have a big plot difference in the in the manga. So Stain is actually alive, but Deku thinks he's like dead. But he managed to survive severed ice. I don't know how he would, but let's say he did, and he just was knocked unconscious. No, he was in a coma. He knocked the fuck out. So he in a coma. He didn't have a good time. He kind of aggro. He kind of pissed because he got finessed, like finesse, right? And Deku would flash freeze the normal that was trying to like pick him up and like destroy him, and then he would just severed ice him, completely destroying him. And the news would see this and see Deku, and they would realize that that was the kid from the sports festival, Endeavor's son, youngest son. I would say that he looks kind of a little different because half of Deku's face is covered with blue and black frost, like how Todoroki overheats. Yeah. Now Deku's getting old. He's frosting because his ice quirk got a little bit stronger, so his body has not completely adapted to it yet. So it still is gonna like frost him for a bit, but he can just solve that with his fire side. So everything happens with there. Ida still goes to like the infirmary, and Deku still starts to take out more normal. But this time the media knows that Deku was the person who killed Stain. But nothing would come back on him because Deku has a hero license. But that's why we're gonna leave off the video because I want you guys to ponder or do a little theory how Deku has a hero license. I want to know who's smart enough to realize what I meant. But anyways, see you guys.